Sienna Beckman, and I will be the host of this episode of Talk Art, where local artists in Silicon Valley demonstrate a wide variety of media and artistic techniques. Our guest is your normal host, Sally Rayn, an abstract painter and video artist who has developed a new style called dynamic symbolism. Welcome, Sally.
Well, thank you. Thank you for hosting the show for us.
Welcome. So, tell us about dynamic symbolism.
Well, dynamic symbolism is sort of a stream of consciousness type of art. I don't have a plan necessarily for the type of painting that I'm going to do. I usually choose colors, but I don't really have that much of a plan for it. When I paint a line, most of the time I don't know where that line's going to end until after I've started it. So that's a very immediate sort of painting process for me. And what it's developed into is that people see images in the sharp lines and the different colors that I didn't plan for sure, and I don't see them myself until after they point them out. So the painting itself is dynamic, okay, and people's interpretations of it change, and they change how I look at the paintings.
Where did your art form come from? What inspires you in your art?
I think mostly I see natural images in it, and the colors often are natural, like rainbow colors, or I do a lot of tree paintings that they're not actual trees, but the colors are inspired by the forest. And I love hiking and gardening, so I think the natural world really does inspire a lot of the work that I do. And also I believe I have a vast repository of images that's in my brain that I subconsciously attach to when I'm painting, and that's where the images come from.
You started as a visual artist, as a painter, charcoal, pastels, but now you also are a video artist, so you have kind of taken your art into more of the technology space. So how do you see your art changing as technology advances?
Well, I have actually started learning about video and working in a television studio about the same time as I started painting. Both were in college.
Oh.
What I've done over the years is connected the paintings to video and sort of crossed that physical digital boundary.
Okay, cool.
With this idea of technology, I have developed an app that will let people tell me what the interaction is, what they see. So here's a painting. This painting is called Fertility. And if you see this in a gallery or a museum, you can't touch the painting. You can't go up and go, oh, I see this over here. And when people describe it, it's difficult to see. So for a couple of years, I've had an iPad app that people will touch the screen and it records what is done. So we have it here on the smartboard, on the big screen, and my idea is to have an installation using touchscreens. And it's internet-based, so there's a database that stores the images that people record and allows you to see what other people have seen. So I'll show you how it works. I'm going to go down here, and in this area right here, I see a bluebird. So here's the beak, and it highlights the beak, and as you touch it, each piece gets highlighted. So there's the wing that I see, here's the body, there's a nice long tail that goes down. So it's a long bluebird's tail. It's standing on a branch.
Cool.
And so this is what I see here. And so I'm going to record this. So I touch finish, and it builds it.
There it is.
And then it says, what do you see? So over here on this smartboard is the keyboard. And so on the keyboard, I'm going to type in bluebird. And
voila.
There it is. And it's recorded now. And so then there's a way that you can see, now that I've done one, I can see what other people have seen. So here's a tree that someone saw.
Wow,
And look at that. It's very bright. It's a pear tree. And this is another tree that someone saw with autumn colors. And it's the same area, same idea, but a different tree that someone else saw. And they touched out each piece of that.
And it really comes out with the black background.
Yeah, and this one is so stark with that whole huge painting. It's a grass seed exploding. Just one wisp of grass in that whole huge painting. There's a leaping fish.
Fish.
And it's, big, beautiful koi fish, perhaps. And then someone else saw an entire school of fish all the way across the painting. So these have been recorded by people using the iPad that I've taken to art fairs all over the place. Two different, completely different ideas.
Faces.
They're faces. So profiles of faces. So
I see them.
yeah, so you can see a big cheek and two eyes.
Yeah.
And this is a mermaid. I certainly didn't see a mermaid there.
Oh, it has your bluebird in it, though.
It does.
Same
area.
this time.
And the exact same place, a saxophone player saw a saxophone.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. This is a pelican flying up. I really like that one.
I see it.
So that one was done online, and I didn't even see the person doing it. It showed up one day in the database.
Cool.
Turtles. A turtle head, a large turtle, and then a very small turtle. So you're choosing different color patches and matching the colors together. People often do that when they interact with the app. So this is an otter head, and this is one that I saw, and this is connected to the idea of the next idea of the app. A cockatiel or a parrot's head, just the head of it.
Yeah.
And then this one is a deer head with one antler. And from here, the idea with the app is that I then take what viewers have seen and they participate in the creation of the entire artwork. So it goes from a painting to the interaction online with the touchscreen. And then I create video that people can see that I've responded to their art. So we can see the video now.
Wow.
There it is.
That's so cool, because when you look at the full painting, there's so much, but when it comes out on the black background, so many things you don't see before come out.
But people see them.
Yeah.
And that's the interaction that I really want to explore because it amazes me. People tend to see what they've seen before.
Right.
And in the interaction of the symbols, I think, is a really important idea. I mean, I've studied a lot about symbols, and the psychologist Carl Jung did a lot of writing about archetypes and how they're imagery that people around the world share on a subconscious level. So I paint these without conscious intent, and people see them and add to stories that I create about the art. Yeah. And I think that whole realm is a really interesting idea.
So
I really
cool.
do.
So that was that's the inspiration behind the app, is to take one painting and essentially you can take people from different cultures, from different backgrounds, from different countries, and they see things that are completely different.
Yes, and it's a chance to see what other people see, like looking through someone else's viewpoint, and you see it on your own, from what you've seen.
Yeah. So where do you see this kind of installation, the touch screens, being set up?
Okay, I would really like to have it in a museum setting. I think people walking through the museum, it's a really good way to interact with the art, and it's an interesting interaction that they can then have an app on their iPad and see it progress. It's something that they can take home with them. They interact on the large screens because that's really fun, and the big screens are so cool to work with. But then to have it on a smaller screen and to see the interaction. And someone who actually has a painting in their home could participate with me in the actual creation of the art, because the art doesn't stop at the painting. No. It continues on through the video and the interaction and how people interpret it. So I think it's a really cool new social media type of art.
Yeah.
So I brought some images of paintings that I've done, sort of a little historical process that I'd like to show you.
Great.
So this painting, called Dancing with Swift Shields, is a charcoal drawing. And it was one of the very first ones that really made me think about how people see and how people look at paintings based on what they've seen before, I think. So this one, I In the middle, I always saw a crab shell. I did it at a time where some dear friends had died of cancer. I see crab claws, and it was a very sharp type of painting for me, and it had a lot of history, and it hung in my living room for 7 or 8 years. And then I took it to a fair, and a woman from India looked at it, and she saw in the middle a perfect elephant head. And if you look, there are tusks, there's a trunk, the ear, all in the center, there's an eye. Everything there is exactly an elephant head.
Yeah.
Another friend of mine has triggerfish, and she has a saltwater aquarium at her house. She traced out a triggerfish going the opposite direction, all in the same one. So that's what I'm talking about by the dynamic nature of the symbolism. Women's Circle. This is from our Women's Circle. So you're my daughter. We didn't say that. And we were in a women's circle for many years. And so this is a tribute to them. Lots of women. Here's one of my tree paintings, the madrone painting. I call it Mama Madrone because the madrone just makes me think of very feminine curves and the way it's cool to the touch, and the greens show through in the bark. And irises down in the corner, but there are lots of birds hidden in the bark and in the leaves around the trees. I love the movement and the flow of music, and so this one looks like music to me. I see a hawk in the middle, sort of possibly a totem pole on the side. A lot of people see Northwestern Native American influences in this. When I was doing it, I was really just drawing the lines with charcoal. I loved using charcoal. I still do use charcoal, but not to the extent that I used to. But this one has a lot of imagery. And then up at the top, I see the Bay Bridge. So it's very California, West Coast art. Technology is amazing right now. We have magic wands. These are our magic wands, the phone.
All got
and
in our pockets.
I have business cards that I've used an app called Erasma to connect the card to a video in the phone. So here's one of my business cards. This is the charcoal drawing, Dark Horse 2. And what you can do is you give someone a business card and you say, I have a card trick. Would you like to see my card trick?
Yes, I would.
So you put the card down and you hold your phone over it, and it turns into a video. So there's the video that I have attached.
Oh, it's a horse.
Yeah, so it's the Dark Horse, and I found stock footage, and I did a little bit of trickery with luma keys, and I have some fire and some ice going on with it.
Cool.
And then it turns into the card.
Great.
Yeah.
And you have an online presence or website?
I do. I have a website that has my paintings, and soon we'll have more of the interactions. So I'm really hoping to expand that idea and to, perhaps show in a gallery. But I'd really like to work on a large museum installation. That's my main goal.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with that. I'm sure it will come to be.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, and thank you for being the host.
You are welcome. This was great to see all of it come together in one place.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of Talk Art. Hope you enjoyed.